Welcome back to the channel, you guys. We're going to be talking about the Dodge Charger SRT Ghoul. So this is something Dodge has in the works. They haven't released a date of when they're going to release it. It was supposed to debut at Springfest LX in California, but delayed due to coronavirus. So you know how all that's been. So it's going to be equipped with the Hellephant with at least 1,000 horsepower. They're talking about price point, $200,000 at least. But they've been talking about this car for a couple of years. It's just a variant of the Demon and the Red Eye. So a year ago they kind of talked more about it, and because you know the Demon already makes 840, so they were like, let's up it to the 1,000 horsepower Hellephant, which they made previously in a crate motor only. Which they only made 100 of them and sold them for $30,000 a piece, and they sold out super quick. Dodge felt like it really wasn't, they didn't receive enough return on the engine itself, like their total investments. So they're like, hey, let's put it under the hood of something and sell it that way. So it'll be making 1,000 horsepower. Needless to say, it won't come cheap. The Challenger Ghoul is originally supposed to cost around $200,000 mark. Dodge says that's a fair price. Launch date is unknown. Anything that was planned, it was pushed back. Chances are the Charger Red Eye will come out first, and then the Ghoul. So we'll have to see. So I saw a lot of controversy over this thing on TikTok. Nate Ryder had posted about it and was talking about the Shelby Super Snakes making like 8 something, which a Mustang making 850, 900 would be 8, especially because the Super Snakes I think make the 840 to the wheels. So something like that would definitely keep up with this. No problems, because the Challengers and the Chargers are heavier. However, Nate Ryder was getting ragged around because he kept calling it a Ford product. The Shelby Super Snake, and I think he actually owns one, is not a Ford product. Like, the car itself originally was a Ford, but to make it the Super Snake, it was built by Shelby American. A lot of people don't respect that and can't understand that, but there are the ones who do understand the value that's in that if something is actually built by Shelby American and not Ford. As somebody who has a car like that, I can definitely appreciate that. But, so what he was just trying to get around is there's other cars that make that 1,000 horsepower cheaper, and he's right. I wouldn't have compared it to the Super Snake, but the Shelby 1000, which is a 1,000 horsepower Mustang that Shelby builds, they've been building them for years. I know I've seen it in the S197 body style, which stopped in 2014. Their price point for a 15 and up body style is $220,000. We're just going to say that. If you already have the car, then it's only $170,000 to do it. And it comes with a whole list of things, but there's a bunch of cars that come with 1,000 horsepower, and I think what he was trying to get across from, it's not really anything special, but it actually is. Because for the price point, compared to like Chevy and Ford, there's not really one that comes off the factory line like that. Like, Shelby's an aftermarket third-party company. Hennessey has made 1,000 horsepower Mustangs and Camaros, but it's still aftermarket. However, I've got a list of some that make over 1,000. The first one we're going to talk about was the Hennessey. The Hennessey makes it's called a GT500 Venom. They have them in a 1,200 horsepower option, 1,000 horsepower, and an 850. I don't have a price point for that one. Another one, there's some exotic cars like a Bugatti, and some of them I can't even pronounce, that are in the millions. But one that's really cheap, it reminds me of a Lotus for some reason. It's called an Ultra RS. It makes 1,200 horsepower. But you can get into this one for the price of a M3, which is around $67,000. So, fairly cheap, and that makes 12. The Exorcist is $120,000. They only made, I think, like 100 of them. But 1,000 horsepower for half the price. The Ford Mustang Project M, 1,000 horsepower, You paid 32, almost 33 for the Mustang, and then you spent another 55 on the thing, so you ended up with $88,000, and you had a 1,000 horsepower Mustang. The SVE Yunkin SC Camaro, 1,000 horsepower, $70,000. They also made a Suburban in Tahoe with 1,000 horsepower. They don't have a price point on that. The Rensvilla Tank X, $350,000. It's got 1,000 horsepower. So you're capable. It's capable of making 1,000 horsepower with something else and cheaper, but you're not necessarily just paying for that. I get a lot of crap about my car. I could have got something else and made it cheaper, but you're paying to say you have this in the title or the certificate for it and say, yeah, this is what this is, and it's going to hold its value better than a Charger that's been built up like it. Now, will it sell? That's a different story. $200,000 is pretty steep, but somebody who is very enthusiastic about it and loves it will buy it. There's people who buy the Demons, love them, drive them until they can't drive them no more. So we'll have to see. I'll keep you updated if I hear anything, but please leave your comments and your opinions about them down below. If you want me to talk more about some of the other ones making 1,000 horsepower, let me know. Y'all have